All right, welcome to the sunny city of Gainerville. This is a fictitious city here to help us understand some of the employment metrics before we measure it in the real world today. So today we have this population here, and we can see it's there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 people. So that's the population of Gainerville. So that's 14. However, we have here a couple different people. So Kate has the red line above her head. She's unemployed. Dot is also unemployed. And here the blue circle is Oliver and Rachel, and they're both stay-at-home non-working people in the community. Oliver won the lottery and successfully retired, doesn't work. And Rachel here also has a wealth of her own and doesn't work. And Rachel is married to Spencer, who works at the Golf Pro Shop as a hobby on the weekdays. And they've got a son, Mark, who's 11. So now we have to take into consideration what is the labor force, and the labor force is unemployment, the unemployed plus the employed. And so now we include Kate and Dot, but we do not include Rachel and Oliver because they are not looking for work. So the labor force is, and also we don't include Mark because Mark is not over 15. If Mark was 15, we'd include him, but right now we don't. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 people that are either employed or unemployed. And now we have to measure the labor force participation rate. So now this is when we take into account Rachel and Oliver. So this is measured by the labor force, which we just calculated, which is 11, divided by the number of people older than 15. And that's just shorthand notation there. So we're going to include Rachel and Oliver in the denominator, but not in the numerator. So we have the labor force, which is 11, and we exclude Mark because Mark is the only one that's not over 15. Otherwise, everyone else is included. So 4, 8, 12, 13. So 13, and that's our labor force participation rate is 11 over 13. And now our unemployment rate is the number of unemployed, which is Kate and Dot. Both are looking for work and do not have it. 2 over the labor force, which is 11. So that's our unemployment rate. And we can get this down to a fraction or to a decimal, which is more common to see. But that's going to be 11 over 13. So that's 84% labor force participation rate. And then 2 divided by 11. 11. That's an 18% unemployment rate, which is pretty high for a city, if I say so. So that's how we measure it. And we'll go ahead and look at a real world example here of current day. All right, guys, we're going to leave Gainerville just to Canada, to frozen tundra, to look at the last quick example here before we end. But these are statistics of December 2020. And these are the numbers, the population, labor force, employment, and unemployment of Canada. Just multiply these by thousands. I just didn't want to write out thousands, and that's how it was listed in the table. So we have to remember first the population versus labor force. There's a key difference because these are not equal. There's an 11 million person difference. And so what is not included in that difference? There are 3 things that are probably the most important. Is first, children under 15. Those are not included in the labor force. Second is discouraged workers. So those that have been laid off and are unemployed, but then stopped seeking work because of harsh economic times. And third, those not seeking work. So here we can calculate a couple of different things now. So we can check labor force participation rate by dividing the labor force, which is 20,258.8, divided by the population. That's the labor force participation rate. So I'm just going to write down rate. And that's going to be equal to about 65.01%. So that's the participation rate of Canada. That's that of the population that is producing the labor force. And then now we can measure the unemployment rate, which is just the unemployment rate divided by the labor force. So unemployment rate That's just going to be equal to 1,742.5 over 20,258.8. So that's going to give us an answer of 8.6%. And this is important to remember. This is how, we measure the economy in different ways. But this is specifically having to do with labor and production of industry, the healthiness of Canada's industries. So these are important metrics that we use. But remember, discouraged workers, that's an important concept. Those that have been fired or laid off and have stopped seeking work because the employment situation is bad. So thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed and learned something.